The true impact will come to life when you are connected to the consumers. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Justin, and this is my colleague, Nick, Jackie, and Michael. And today, we're going to offer you a strategy to how to tackle into the B2C market. Allow me to walk you through the executive summary. Very simply, you're going to understand us, and we're going to understand the market, and we're going to provide you with the strategy. What are we going to offer? It's going to be eSmart Health 2.0. How are we going to deliver this into the market? It's going to be two strategies, cutting in and bringing in. We're going to cut in through the chronic market segment, through the diabetic patients, and at the same time, we're going to bring in relevant stakeholders to our side so we can make your product sustainable. By doing all this, we are going to achieve a 85 million Hong Kong dollar revenue by end of 2019. Now let's try to understand ourselves by the past cases. We have successful and unsuccessful cases in the penetration. And the successful cases lives with the B2B2C market segment. And the reason for success here is the segmentation was spot on, the needs were there, and then the stakeholder was very simple. It was the service provider and then the service receiver all clustered in one location. Let's look at the other side, however. The unsuccessful case lives with the B2C market segment. The reason behind is the segmentation was not spot on. They were using the segmentation approach of a age and also with the income level. However, in order to tackle into the consumer market, it's all about understanding their needs and providing a service to do the job for them. But the needs were also unclear. The key stakeholders, when we're talking about the consumer health market, it becomes much more complex. However, today, we're not going to be discouraged. We're still going to tap into the B2C market. But this time, we're going to learn from the past and we're going to do it better. The key takeaway here is that we need to segment the market correctly through their needs, and also we'll have to understand the key stakeholder dynamics correctly. Let's understand the market now. Yes, Hong Kong B2C market is very, very favorable to us because the political and social and the technological factor is leading the healthcare industry to become digitalized. In the market, there's three segments: wellness, sports, and medical. And we plot them into a chart using the company's core strength and also the market attractiveness as a major matrix. And we figured out that the medical segment is where we need to tap in, and we can do it right. That there's two needs: acute disease and the chronic disease. Simple words, short-term disease or long-term disease. And we figured out that the chronic disease segment is where the valuable data lives, and we can actually measure it. But we're not doing the shotgun strategy. We're going to cut in through this market, through the diabetic patient, and we can do it right. Now, in order to make this all possible, we also need to understand where our stakeholders are located. If you see this chart, it's going to explain it to you where our stakeholders are located when we're trying to deliver this initiative. And also, it's going to show you whether our stakeholders are active or passive, or supportive or opposed to our initiative. 3 stakeholders at the moment. That is doctor, patient, and eSmart Health. However, in the middle, there are many influencers, such as the hospital management and also the government. They're all intricately connected to each other, and they're influencing each other's decision. Also, we've identified a sleeping lion. That is the insurance company. They're not our key stakeholder yet, but we can wake them up. When we collect the right data, if we prove that the data that we collect is going to be beneficial for them, we can successfully wake them up and they can become a part of our ecosystem. But today, let's only focus on the current stakeholders. For the current stakeholders, we want to do 3 major things. We want to align our current supporter. We want to persuade the doctors who are not yet persuaded. And we also want to activate our patient who will get the most out of our service eventually. Now, I've explained to you 2 major strategies: cut in and bring in. Allow me to invite Jackie to talk about what we're offering and how we're going to deliver the cut-in strategy.
Thank you. So cut in. Cut in is about prioritizing. It's about finding the right high-value patient users and then the high-value applications of smart health and designing the right products that fit specifically to what they are looking for. So first, let's talk about the product. Introducing eSmart Health 2.0. By the name it tells, we are not scrapping the idea, the platform that eSmart Health is doing right now. In fact, we are taking the best parts out of it and giving it extra capabilities to deliver the value that our end users are really looking for. So there are 4 elements. First of all, in terms of the product, eSmart Health will be restructuring its current product offerings to become a disease-based package, meaning it will be an all-in-one, tailor-made solution, a heart disease solution, a diabetes solution that fits specifically to the needs of these particular patients. At the same time, we would also want to make the platform be more proactive in the interaction with the patients, meaning that it will go beyond its role as a health data storage, but it will interact and intervene with the health conditions of the patients at the right time.
Sorry, but if I have a chronic illness, am I going to have to buy several packages?
There could be potentials in developing, because we are sharing the connected devices for some of the key health metrics, but in the initial roles, we do identify a large market segment already having the diabetes. So we will first roll out the disease-based packages. So if you have multiple chronic diseases, we may offer, discount for using multiple choices, but at the same time, in the initial stage, we will start with disease-specific packages.
And then maybe I missed that. What is the benefit of focusing on one disease or disease-based package?
Because we identify there are specific needs for people with different diseases. For example, for diabetes patient, later I will elaborate, there are specific key metrics for them to monitor their day-to-day health conditions so that we see a need to have specific connected devices to monitor these metrics regularly. And that is what we can provide tailor-made services. The personalized service, I will elaborate on that later, feeds to these patients. So the third part is also about bringing in different stakeholders. For example, the family members, the doctors, to provide the full support network for these patients. And at the same time, we have in mind the characteristics, the mentalities of our target audience. And our solution to that is to offer a very intuitive user interface for these patients so that the day-to-day interaction with the platform would all be done in one click, a yes or a no, very intuitive. But before we walk you through the exact user experience, let's take a step back and think about what these product packages should look like. And we've identified a product development framework centering on 4 things: metrics, device, service, and value. Let's look at a specific case of diabetes patients. So based on research, we've identified 4 key metrics for the patients to monitor day to day. And then for each of them, we will have a specific device that they can use to monitor their metrics. And the good news is for the first 3 of them, they are already in our product portfolio right now, so that it is actionable on the hardware side on day 1. But we also want to bring in extra potentials to bring in new Bluetooth low energy devices from other device manufacturers to enrich the solution.
What's the cost of this device package?
So our initial, you mean the cost for developing or the pricing of the package?
For the end consumer, what is he going to be paying? I have 4 different devices I'm going to have in my house.
Yes, regarding the pricing of this subscription, we will be using a subscription model, so it will be priced around 600 Hong Kong dollars per month for using the whole package solution for this.
Yes. That's a realistic cost, $600 Hong Kong? I'm sorry, $600 a month Hong Kong?
Yes,
or
it's the price. Yeah.
And would you imagine, in the future or near future, are there any immediate replacement solution for all these devices? Like I can download and free apps, from the iPhone App Store to check my blood pressure.
For now, we can see there are initial development costs, so we have to roll out them with a charge model. And in order to provide the maximum value specific to our patients, there are different costs we need to take into account. And
to add on to that, I think what we are looking here is really the chronic disease patients. So they are the ones that are looking for medical grade devices, and they're looking for the precision and performance like devices. So then free app, we don't think that will be really trying to take over this segment. And that's why we're focusing on this segment right now. Thank you.
And essentially, as Jackie walked you through the customer journey, you will understand that our package is not just about monitoring or measuring the health data. It's an ecosystem. We're involving the doctors and we're involving the caretakers and offering a wholesome package. So it's not a function that we're offering that can be replaced by an app.
So moving on, for the personalized service, I will walk you through just in a moment when we are going through a user experience. And these are personalized service, meaning that these services would be tailor-made to the specific health data measures for each individual patient so that we can feed them reminders, emergency alerts, notifications at the right time specific to their conditions. And at the end, we also have to bear in mind what kind of value we are providing for these users. So in this specific case of diabetes, for sure, they will have a lower emergency room visit and also the hospitalization rates because of more constant monitoring and regular medication behaviors. At the same time, one key metric, the A1C for diabetes patients, we will also foresee a 10% reduction through general health improvement and also regular medication based on research. And all this would convert into 8 to 13% cost savings per patient at the end.
What is 8 to 13% in dollars per patient? Or dollars per user, let me put it that way.
That is per diabetes patient user. So the cost savings would be mainly come from the lower medical costs you spend on, for example, hospitalization and also emergency room visits.
I'd like to understand the relative nature of the $600 honky a month for the package versus how much am I saving in better health costs and driving down my healthcare costs.
Well, the healthcare cost saving is more on the society level. It's not, we're not pitching to the patients that because by acquiring our data, you will be saving more money. That we are actually empowering them to have more control on their health data and monitoring their health data so that they can have more freedom to decide what they want to do with their lives. So this health saving, the money saving, the dollar amount here we've evaluated is actually on a society level in terms of lower emergency visits, lower hospital stays. But to the patients, our value proposition is not going to be based on cost. It's going to be based on the changing lifestyle that they'll be able to acquire.
So for $7,000 a year of expenses that somebody's going to be bearing though, somebody's going to want to see a savings from that, right? That has to get funded somewhere. Who's funding that $6,000 then, and why?
If the patients will be paying the price of our package of the $600, and as we walk into the demographics and segment, we will be targeting through these private hospitals, which means that our target audience are the more wealthy people in Hong Kong. So compared to their household income and the charging price of $600, we believe this will be a very affordable package for them, very appealing for them, because the benefits that they're getting is a more empowerment, a more decision-making in how they want to arrange their healthcare.
Yes, so
I'd be curious when you get to it. I'd like to see the size of the market for who's willing to subsidize that on a personal level.
Market size?
I think to answer your question more directly, the cost of diabetic patients to go to hospital and all that a year is around 500K. It's around 500K. So that if we're able to save 8 to 13%, and we charge them $600 per month, yeah, it's actually achievable. That's what we believe, and also that's also shown by the research.
You're saying that 500,000 per patient?
What's that? Could you repeat?
Years?
According to our research understanding of
They
the
spend
diabetic patient.
500,000 per year on medical costs per person, per patient?
Per person, yes, maybe that's for more chronic or more acute ones. Yeah, but we will be able to look into that too.
So I think on top of cost, it's also the benefit to patients. It's about a better lifestyle, a better and lower possibility for them to get hospitalized. It's about the general health improvement, preventive care, and less worry by their loved ones.
Just stick with that slide a second, could you
Okay.
please? So the left-hand two columns there are pretty much what we've been doing already, and it hasn't been that particularly successful. So if we can't get that far from left to right, how do we go on to the next steps to get even further into that personalized services?
Yes, so
if we can't get people to take up the second column, how do we get into the third column?
So for the adoption of the connected device for the solutions, I think my colleague Michael will walk you through further about how we are going to engage the stakeholders, including the doctors, to further convince the patients to adopt these products. And right now, on the product side, I can move on to talk about what kind of services that could provide extra value to these patients as a whole solution. And one more key point here is that this framework, metrics, device, service, value, is also replicable, applicable to identifying the other needs, the other product requirements of designing solutions for patients of, say, heart disease and also other chronic diseases. So let's go through the exact user experience. So let's put ourselves into the shoes of Peter. He is a middle-aged type 1 diabetes patient in Hong Kong. So the whole journey starts from the moment he wakes up. And the app already identifies that it's time for him to take his regular pills for diabetes. But then, not all medication for type 1 diabetes are taken regularly. For example, Peter just had his breakfast, taking in extra carbohydrates, and then his insulin to carbohydrate ratio would go low. And then the platform would identify it and feed him with a notification that it's time for him to have the insulin injection in order to keep his health in check. And going forward, when Peter is taking the regular blood glucose measurement every day, and very unfortunately, right now, his glucose level actually goes out of regular control. It has reached the critical level. The system is able to identify it and even intervene by providing the right assistance that Peter will need at this moment to prevent him from falling into the extreme consequences of coma and other health threats. And these options, based on how severe the situation is, would include self-help tips, SMS to family members to intervene, and also call to the family doctors, the healthcare providers. And as time goes, when Peter starts to develop a regular exercising habit, his health improves in general. We will also think this is a good thing that he could share the news with his loved ones, so that we will also send out regular progress reports to his family members, to his friends, so that the people around him could see the improvement he's making, that he would be reducing the burden, the worry of the people around him. And right now, after introducing the product, Michael will walk you through how we are going to implement it through stakeholder management.
Okay, so our team understands that having the awesome product, having the successful product, is only one part to the story. In order to introduce a new solution into the healthcare system, we need to involve and convince and engage different stakeholders. So we've developed a 3-stage plan. First, we need to align the private hospital management and the private clinic group management. And then, we need to persuade the doctors and convert them into our key advocates for our products, talking to the patients about the benefits of our eSmart Health 2.0. And lastly, we need to activate the patients in actively seeking out our solution. So first, we should leverage on our current relationship with the private hospitals and the private clinic groups and actually converting them and getting them on board and convincing them of the benefits it can bring to their business with the eSmart Health 2.0 solution. With unique value propositions to both segments, we believe we'll be able to convince them in a relatively short period of time. And additionally, what we'll be offering them is revenue sharing for the contracts that we sign in their sites, and also eliminating some of the needs for the pre-consultation checkups, increasing their efficiency. And lastly, we can offer some initial discounts to their patients so that the patients will be able to get access to the cutting-edge healthcare technology, increasing overall customer satisfaction and loyalty. Now, with all these sacrifices, what are we getting? First, we're getting a great platform for us to reach the customers and reach the doctors and telling them about the benefits of our solution. And secondly, we'll be getting a key alliance in the hospital and clinic management in persuading our next stakeholder, the doctors. And lastly, and most importantly, we'll be able to establish point of sales in these hospitals and clinics in capturing the sales and the interest generated by the doctors and actually converting their patients into our users. So after this...
What cut are the doctors getting?
I'm sorry?
What's the cut, the revenue share to the doctors?
The doctors, we will be sharing the revenue with the hospital management, the group as a whole, and the percentage we think will be around 2 to 3%.
2 to 3%? You think I'm going to get out of bed for 2 to 3%?
Well,
as a doctor?
because the current partnership with the hospitals, in getting them on board is a relatively low cost for them. So on the revenue side is 2 to 3% benefits, and in the increased operational efficiency, eliminating the need for pre-consultation checkups will also be a benefit for them. And ultimately, we'll also be offering superior value to their entire business by increasing the customer loyalty and enhancing the customer experience through our offering. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you. So
in your model, you are excluding all those private individual doctors in practice.
So the next step is for us to engage into the doctors as a group. We believe the first penetration point is through private hospitals and clinic groups because it'll give us more of a scale. So after we've created this awareness, we need to engage with the doctor community as a whole. So first of all, we need to transform our offering from a new and innovative offering to a proven solution. So we should extend our current collaboration with the CU Medical School and engage with the HKU Medical School as well. And we should participate in these research to tangibilize and measure the exact benefits of an e-health solution. So once we have transformed ourselves from an innovative solution to a proven solution, we can actually be more convincing in actually adopting the doctors, getting the doctors on board. And within our solution, we have identified that once the patient starts using the eSmart Health 2.0 solution, it actually has benefits for the doctors as well. First of all, when the patients come to them, they have a more comprehensive data. Past 2 weeks of blood pressure, heart rates. And the patients will come to their doctors with a more clearly defined problem. It might be the blood pressure is going wrong, or the heart rates, or some of the other things that our devices have picked up. Now, as a result, the doctors will be able to identify the problem more quickly, reducing the consultation time they spend, and overall increasing efficiency. So to the doctors, our value proposition is that we are a proven solution that improves the patient's well-being as well as increasing their own efficiency.
So I can see the benefit for the private doctors if you're talking about the mass, target. But, earlier on you tell me that you are trying to focus on the affluent segments, yes. And the affluent segments goes to specialists, which has a lot of patients already, so they care less about higher churn rate or shorter consultation. They actually care more about giving quality time to each of the patients as well. So of all these, benefit to doctors, I don't see how you will convince those doctors to enter into this program.
We understand that the individual doctors might have different incentive structures compared to the hospital doctors, but we see that our overall offering is that it's not just on the cost side, but also the solution actually helps the patients. So I think ultimately our strongest pitch to the doctors is that we are a proven solution, and as the private hospitals and the private clinic groups adopt more and more of our solution, and that the results through the academic studies are more and more evident, the private doctors, individual doctors who value a lot their interaction with the customers, they will also see that there is a push for them to acquire these cutting-edge new technology that is already proven in the society. And as we walk through as we move on to the patient segment, we're also trying to engage more of the celebrity doctors to promote our academic results. So we will be a very solid solution in the healthcare community rather than more of a debated solution. So the private doctors who value a superior healthcare will eventually include our service in their package. Okay. So with the two key success in private hospitals and the doctors, we believe the third step will come relatively easy. We should engage in the more celebrity doctors in the Hong Kong community and get them to endorse our products and promote and educate the public about the benefits of acquiring a e-health solution. So Dr. Chan, Nathan Chan here, will be great of a promoter for our diabetic package. So once we've engaged in the doctors and increased awareness, and once the patient community really knows about the benefits, the last step of the equation, the last piece of the puzzle, will be in our great product itself. We will be using an easy interface. Our new interface will lower the adoption barrier to get patients on board, and with the comprehensive data they get, they will be able to have more power in deciding their healthcare activities, changing their diets or changing their routines, and overall, they will have more control of their own lives. And leveraging on the word of mouth that is very strong in the patient community, we believe we will be able to grow the patients organically over the years. And also another key stakeholder with the patients is the caretakers. We will be offering these regular progress reports, so they will be able to see the tangible improvements the patients are making through our products. A more stable heart rate, more lower blood pressure, and overall, they'll know that even while they're not there, the patients are in good shape because the system is constantly monitoring their health. And whenever there's an action that is immediately needed, the health takers will be notified through SMS or our app. Yes, sir?
You started off talking about focusing on diabetes, and now I'm seeing a lot of the celebrity endorsements, cancer, leukemia, et cetera. What happens to the cost of the package once you get into these more esoteric, more complicated diseases?
So in order evaluating what are the packages we develop, we need to look at a lot of different criteria. So definitely probably cancer segments will be a bit more complicated and they'll be more longer down the road. But with the diseases, for example, hypertension or heart diseases related, these are the segments that we can tap into first because they are relatively a bit more simple and is more easy to monitor on a day-to-day basis. So we do see that the cancer professionals per se might be our lines longer down the road, but also because of their celebrity influence within the Hong Kong society, even though it's not necessarily their expertise, you can see that the medical school deans, for example, they will have a more influence on the generic public. So it does differ on who we engage in with our product offerings, but there are also some more generic key opinion leaders that we can engage in. Okay. So with the caretakers, they will also be getting a lot of value with our new product offering. So our winning value proposition to capture the B2C market is that we are a healthcare solution that empowers the patients to take control of their own lives.
So to implement our recommendation today, we think that we have put together a timeline for you here. In the first 6 months, we believe you can roll out the eSmart Health 2.0 because we're building on our current eSmart Health platform. And we're targeting to hit 7,000 active subscribers at the end of year 2 and more than 10,000 at the end of year 3. For the financial impact of our recommendation, as you can see, most of our new revenue will be coming from the B2C segment because we really find the right target and unlock the potential for B2C segment. And also, we're targeting to hit around 85 million revenue at the end of year 3. And we believe that for a more realistic approach, you will be able to hit around 15% ROI at the end of year 3. Although this falls slightly short of your target of 20%, but this is just looking at one package at diabetes. So we believe this will be a highly scalable model to different kind of chronic diseases such as hypertension and heart diseases.
Sorry, before you have a chance to scale it up, okay? Because the barrier of entry, it seems to me, is quite low. So, how are you going to foresee, and you spend a lot of money in education, and, having celebrity to endorse the concept, not the particular product that HKT has, but the concept, of the whole thing. So how do you be sure that your 15% ROI will not have other people to eat your lunch?
Yes.
Thank you for your question. That is why we believe that understanding the stakeholder is the critical one. If we can actually bring the stakeholders into our side in creating the sustainable ecosystem, yes, currently the market entry barrier is quite low. Anybody can do the job. Any competitor can actually do the job. But if we can bring all the stakeholders to our side, then the entry barrier will become higher. So that is why we want to really focus on bringing in all these stakeholders to our side before the others do it.
So
A quick question I have, and I asked this earlier, but once again, the subscription model is $600 a month, call it $7,000 a year, and you're targeting households with over $30,000 a year. So that's a pretty significant chunk of change for any household.
Yeah. Just to clarify, it's 30,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. So it'll be only 2% of their household income. I believe that's feasible. Yeah. So moving on, we believe that once you successfully develop the first package, which is the one for diabetes, it will be much easier for you to develop a second and third packages because we already have the experiences and we already have the trust and from our consumers, from doctors, and from the hospitals. Yeah. So we believe that it's possible for you to roll out a second package and even third package within the 5-year time frame.
What is the competition that you see in the market with the solutions that you are suggesting?
The competition we're seeing at the moment is possible hardware and software solutions, but we are probably the one that's really offering the targeted diseases segments for our products. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so to move on, we believe that the value of this solution will increase not just with revenue, but also with the data that we can collect it from these highly valuable and relevant patients.
So today, we've introduced to you eSmart Health 2.0. But by far, this is not the end of the journey. By offering a solution for the patients to constantly monitor their own health, we can change the way that they access healthcare in Hong Kong, from a curative approach to a more preventative approach. And in such attitude change in our patients, we're confident that we can lower the lifetime cost of curing a patient in the Hong Kong system significantly. resulting in significant savings in the healthcare segment for the Hong Kong government. And also with the data they will be collecting, with the insights we get, we will be fundamentally changing the way that the insurance company segment the market, design their packages, and incentivize their clients to live healthier. So please, join us today and implement this change and open to the future of Hong Kong healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you, Team 4.